do everything possible to bring him
the
home.
return of Gilmore Abrego.
To bring Gilmore home. That should be alarming to every...
This is a
We've got to talk about the Democrat Party once again today. Because, you know, just when you thought they couldn't fall any lower, they do it once again. They absolutely do it once again. I'm going to play this clip of annoying Letitia James. I know, but y'all got to hear this. You have to hear this. Fighting for illegals to have taxpayer funds, that's an all-time low. Now let's dive in.
Thank you, Attorney General Bonta. The SNAP program is a critical lifeline for tens of millions of Americans throughout our country, and specifically 2.9 New Yorkers. Every day, SNAP benefits make it possible for working families to afford to put food on the table. And more than half of those who receive SNAP are families with children, and more than a third have elderly or disabled family members. Without SNAP, many families would not be able to count on their next meal. For decades, SNAP has prevented people from going hungry and saved countless lives. But now, this administration is attempting to use this program as a tool in their cruel and chaotic targeting of immigrants. It is outrageous. It is unacceptable. And this administration has demanded that states hand over sensitive personal information of all SNAP recipients going back to 2020. That includes addresses, social security numbers, immigration statuses, and more. This is not for research or to improve a service that millions count on. No, they are basically trying to weaponize the SNAP program against immigrant communities in violation of the law. And we collectively will not stand for it. That is the administration's plans, and they have made it abundantly clear. They even removed a notice on the USDA's website that promised people could apply for and receive SNAP benefits without immigration consequences. We will not allow this life-saving program to be illegally used to hunt down immigrants and their families. No one should fear for their safety when they seek food assistance for their families. And this administration cannot intimidate vulnerable families and prevent them from putting food on the table. Today, Attorney General Bonta, Attorney General Dana Nessel, and I are co-leading a coalition of our fellow Democratic attorneys general in suing this administration to protect SNAP and the sensitive personal information of all of its recipients. The federal government's demand that states turn over SNAP recipients' data is flat out illegal. In fact, our laws prohibit us from disclosing this SNAP data unless it is strictly necessary for administering the program. And in this case, it is not. This latest action from this administration is nothing more than an attempt to sow fear and to cause chaos amongst vulnerable populations. And we are suing to uphold the rule of law, to protect the sensitive personal information of everyone who receive SNAP benefits, and ensure that this administration does not use critical and necessary food assistance to target immigrant communities. I too want to thank my team. I want to thank my colleagues. I want to thank all of you. And now I turn it over to my colleague from Michigan, Attorney General Dana Nessel.
So your ears did not deceive you. They are suing the Trump administration because they want to make sure that illegals can still have their food stamps. You know, food stamps that we, the taxpayers, pay for. Quite crazy, isn't it? It's quite interesting how far the Democrats will go for illegals. How much they will actually do. Legislation they will actually pass. Marches they will have. How much yelling and screaming that they will do. Including, you know, old Timmy Tim. Check out this clip.
Governor Tim Walz signed the Driver's License for All bill into law. This will allow all Minnesotans to get a driver's license regardless of immigration status.
Instead of actually changing the politician, what they actually do is they just want to change the voter. And by allowing illegal immigrants to have an ID, that's flat out un-American. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to flood our market with all these illegal voters, given what we've seen over the course of the past year with their inability to have free and fair elections. And it's just going to be their response to it, to allow millions of people to have an ID. And quite frankly, to the tax-paying American and the everyday American, this is absolutely disgusting, outrageous, because these tone-deaf policies are what the world are watching right now. They aren't listening, and quite frankly, we're fed up with it.
Yeah, I agree with Wesley Hunt. I agree. Passing a bill simply to make sure that illegals can have a license. Because that's the only reason why you're passing that bill. It's the only reason. suing the government to make sure that illegals can keep their food stamps. You're only doing that for illegals because any American citizen that is in need of food stamps, truly in need of food stamps, can get food stamps. And oftentimes there's people who don't even actually need them that get them, that are American citizens. So you're not doing that because, of course, she said for all Americans. No, you're not doing that for all Americans. You're doing that for illegals. That's why you're doing it.
Yes, there are undocumented immigrants, but most of them have not been accused of wrongdoing outright. There's been no evidence to really justify their deportations.
There's no evidence to justify their deportation, but they're here illegally. Make that make sense. But remember, I said, this is who they fight for. They don't fight for American citizens.
We are fighting back every single day. We are fighting to protect immigrant families from mass detention and deportation.
We are fighting to protect immigrant families from mass deportations. Fighting to protect illegal immigrants from deportations. Where's the fight to protect American citizens? You know, like those women that I showed you at the beginning of this video. Where's the fight to protect these individuals?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Los Angeles, California.
Look at this. Where does the fight to protect and save these individuals living on the street? Where's that fight? Where's the press conference? Where's the marches? Where's the yelling? Where's the screaming? Where's all these bills that need to be passed? Where is it?
The other piece of it is the movement of humans. Like, I'm not sure that we should be moving humans anywhere. I'm not sure that any part of our politics ever contemplated anything other than deporting adjudicated criminals back to their home countries.
Yes. And it turns out, like, all of this weird...
Kind of interesting how they say that now, but they had nothing to say when Obama was deporting people en masse. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. You know, the party that says that they care about the American people, American citizens, the Democrat Party, it seems like they don't care about the American citizens at all. All they seem to care about is power. If you can provide them with power, then they'll care about you. If you can't do so, then you're tossed to the side. Look at the situation with the illegals. They know illegals will overwhelmingly vote for them. So why don't we prioritize the illegals? And that's exactly what it is that they're doing. And I just showed you just a little slice of how far they will go. But they'll go even further. They'll go to the point where they'll basically bankrupt themselves.
Tune on ICE raids. For that, live in L.A., William LaJeunesse is on the beat yet again. Good morning, William.
Good morning, Bill. You know, the question is why. So if you don't like what ICE does, then you should hear that opposition regardless of who's in office, right? Not the case. The numbers are telling one story, the rhetoric something else.
Welcome to day 3, Operation Crosscheck.
Dallas, Phoenix, Miami, Los Angeles.
Same drill as what we discussed on Monday.
ICE agents arrest immigrants on the street, in their homes, where they work. In just 6 days, ICE rounds up 3,000 illegal immigrants. The president defends the policy.
Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws.
That was more than 10 years ago. This is today.
Indiscriminate acts of cruelty.
Do not have ICE raids in our city.
It does look like a Gestapo operation.
So what's changed? Numerically, nothing.
We're dealing with an individual who's got weapons violations.
Under President Obama, ICE arrested more than 18,000 immigrants a month, 40% more than President Trump's first term.
We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
President Clinton made it illegal to hire undocumented workers. Under President George W. Bush, ICE arrested a record 1,300 meatpackers in a single...
1,300 meatpackers in one single swoop. Illegals. Not long ago, they had a different tune. And you know what else is interesting? This right here.
Back to Gavin Newsom, governor of California. Very busy. Very, very busy. He's out of money for Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal is Medicaid. Okay? So they're out of money. Ran out of money, even though they tax you Californians up to here. Not any money. Why don't they have any money? Because, listen to this, illegal migrants are expected to receive this year alone $10 billion in health care costs from the state of California. So in addition, I think there's 53 million Californians, largest state, 10 million undocumented getting their health care paid for. So they're out of money in Medi-Cal. So what Newsom is doing, he's taking $3 billion from another part of the California budget. They're already running record deficits out there, okay? And he's putting it into Medi-Cal because they're broke, because they're paying so many bills for the undocumented. Now, this is what you hear when Bernie Sanders says Republicans want to cut Medicaid. So the Republican Party wants to pass legislation that says if you're undocumented, you're not going to get Medicaid, Medi-Cal, whatever it's called. You don't get it. You're not entitled to get it. That's legitimate. Let Congress vote on it. But Sanders goes, oh, no, they want to cut everybody's Medicaid. That's not true.
So they're willing to bankrupt their own states in order to save illegals. Interesting, huh? Interesting. And there's more examples of that. As a matter of fact, where's that clip? I thought I had it pulled up. Maybe I didn't. I thought I pulled it up, but it's the same thing in Chicago. Same exact situation. I'm going to pull this up here. Public schools. Going broke.
Chicago Public Schools just announced it's laying off more than 1,400 school-based employees. This includes 432 teachers and 677 special ed classroom assistants. CPS says this is part of its annual workforce planning and budgeting process. Historically, the district says more than 80% of impacted employees have secured new positions within CPS prior to the start of the school year. It's not known if the current $734 million budget deficit will impact that rehiring process.
Say that deficit again?
$1 billion budget, current $734 million budget deficit.
$734 million in the hole while they provide assistance to illegals. So they'll spend your money, your hard-earned money that should be going back to the American citizens that need it. They'll leave the American citizens high and dry, homeless on the streets. They'll go and march and yell and scream and create all types of hoopla, have press conferences and everything, all for illegals, but never for you. That's the Democrat Party that we have today. That is the Democrat Party that we have today. And that is disgusting. That is disgusting. To fight that hard for illegals when we have homeless people out on the darn streets. This is California, guys. This is right here in America. This isn't a third world country. This is right. Look at this. Look at this. This is just one clip. Just one short clip. It's disgusting. We shouldn't spend a single cent on any illegal in this country when we have homeless people on the streets. Are there some homeless people? Are there some homeless folks who just want to be homeless? Yeah, there are. But there's also homeless folks who need assistance, who need help. And the Democrat Party would rather spend that money on illegals. It's absolutely disgusting. And the Democrat Party ought not to win a single political race for the next 40 years until they buy a toilet and a ruler and get their shit straight. But y'all get in the comments, man, and let me know your thoughts and your opinions on all of this, all right? Make sure you guys hit that like button for the algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. Hit that arrow button down below. Copy the link. Paste it on your Instagram, on X. Send it to a friend via text message. Post it on Facebook. Post this video everywhere. America at large needs to see this video and what the Democrat Party is actually doing and who they actually care about. Y'all stay safe out there. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.